Hi guys, so today I'm going to bring you the wrap up for my Bout of Books 9.0 readathon. I vastly surpassed what I thought I was going to read. If you guys have watched my previous video, I thought I was going to read about 4 books. That's what I set for myself. And I read pretty much all of them, and I actually ended up reading 10 books this past week. I don't really know how. I kind of just read to the exclusion of everything else, which was... Honestly, by the end of the week I was exhausted, but it was great. I got a vast head start on my 75 books for the year. So the first book I read on Monday, and actually it incidentally turned out that I got snowed in on Monday, so I just spent the whole day at home reading when I was supposed to be spending the whole day at school, which was kind of nice. We got 3 feet of snow. So I read a book for class, which I hadn't mentioned. I read Lawrence Stern's Sentimental Journey Through France and Italy, which I'm reading for my 18th century novel class. And it was okay. It was pretty short. It was about 150 words. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it as great literature. I don't have a copy of it because I read it on my iPad. It was a PDF file that my professor had uploaded. So I read that first thing in the morning. And then I read Jasperfforde. I have been informed that it is indeed Ford. Shades of Grey, that same day, which was good. I can't say it's my favorite dystopian. Yeah, there were a lot of issues I had with it, but I mean, overall, I liked it. So that's kind of the, if you're looking for something dystopian, maybe read it if you've read everything else. If I'm going to recommend a dystopian book, I'm probably going to recommend 1984 or The Chrysalids over that. So the next day, I think I worked in the morning, and then I read Cairnford by Elizabeth Gaskell, which is not my favorite Gaskell. I read 2 Gaskells for this readathon, and I've recently finished North and South. North and South is by far my favorite one that she's written. But it's very short, and it's kind of... It looks really closely at a small town in England during the Industrial Revolution kind of time period. So it was interesting. You don't actually get to know a lot about the main character until the very end. You don't even find out her name. So that was kind of a bit of a weird literary device. Yeah, not my favorite one. Next up is The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman. And I actually... On Tuesday after I finished work, I ran to Chapters and picked up like 5 books because I knew I was gonna, the rate I was going, I was reading through things far too quickly. And this, I love Neil Gaiman. Honestly, he's one of my favorite authors, and this was just so good. I can't believe I waited so long to read it because it's been out for quite a while. It's clearly a staff pick from the Chapters that I picked it up from. But yeah, this... fantastic. If I read this last year, definitely would have made it into my top 5. Highly recommend it. Read it. Really hard to explain without giving away spoilers, but read it. Oh, just Neil Gaiman's style is so like gothic, but not, and twisted, and just, oh, so good. So the next day, I actually did go to school. Sorry, I was just taking a sip of my tea. And I read Ready Player One. By Ernest Cline, one of the ones I picked up when I realized I was running out of books to read. And this was good. I really liked how close to our own time it's set and how it has reflections back on our time and how we fucked up the world. Sorry for the language, but really, we really fucked up the world. It's kind of prophetic a little bit. I would say if you liked Brave New World, this is a really good one because it's kind of along the same themes. Quite good, and I didn't actually think I was going to finish it, and then I ended up finishing it on the train ride home. And then for my bedtime read, I read Poor Clare by Elizabeth Gaskell, which is actually gothic. Most of her other novels aren't. They're more along the Jane Austen line, where it's like a small group of people constantly circulating. It was quite good. If you like Bronte, like Jane Eyre and not Great Expectations, Wuthering Heights, that's the one. So I'm also reading Great Expectations right now, so that's on my brain. I would recommend this. It's very short. It was a very quick read, but it was very good. Deals with a curse. So after that, the next day I read Mrs. Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom Riggs. I loved this book. There are photographs in it that are of like weird things, and just the media plus the story. I'm really excited that I read this when I did, because the next book in the series is coming out tomorrow, so I'll probably run into chapters tomorrow and pick that up. I would highly recommend it for people who like supernatural kind of things. It was very creepy, just really well written, quite a good YA read. I didn't read a lot of YA during this. I'm trying to read a little bit more of like general fiction, adult fiction. I read a lot of young adult fiction last year, so I'm trying to counterbalance that a bit. So next up, I read Room by Emma Donoghue. This was a really intense book, like ridiculously intense. It's based on the true story of the woman who gets abducted and is forced to bear a bunch of children by her abductor. But this one is, the girl gets abducted at 19, and the story is told the child she has while she's abducted, who just turned 5 at the beginning of the book. And it's really moving. I've seen a lot of criticism for this, but I quite liked it. A lot of the criticisms state that it's not interesting to read a book from the perspective of a 5-year-old, and like the way that she writes it is really annoying, but I didn't find that. If you're looking for something that's really intense and downright terrifying at points, because it's so realistic, like this actually happens to people, and that's really messed up and creepy. So yeah, so that was quite good. So then, continuing with the creepy theme, I read Donna Tartt's The Secret History. And this, I was trying to explain it to my friend, and I was like, when I was debating about reading it, I'm like, it's kind of, from the placket on the back, it kind of seems like Dead Poets Society meets Murder on the Orient Express. And that's exactly what it was like, and it was very good. I really liked this. There's some beautiful quotes in it, such as, "Beauty is rarely soft or consolatory. Quite the contrary, genuine beauty is always quite alarming," which they're classical students in the book, so that's very true for classical students. And another one is, "It's beautiful here, but morning light can make the most vulgar things tolerable," which I agree with quite a bit. I've flagged a couple of my favorite passages just because I actually enjoyed the book that much. I don't often do that unless something's particularly moving for me. And the last book I read, and I probably could have read more books, but I stopped yesterday morning, which was Sunday morning, just because I was a little bit read out, and I kind of needed a break, and I kind of needed to work on schoolwork as opposed to just reading for fun. I kind of let it all get pushed aside, and I figured 10 books in a week was enough. I think that's my limit for how much I can handle literature. And that was A Great and Terrible Beauty by Libba Bray, which is part of a trilogy called the Gemma Doyle series, I think, or just Gemma Doyle. But it was a historical fiction, and it dealt with magic and the supernatural, and it was quite good. I read it on my Kindle because I ran out of books to read, and I desperately needed something. I was like, I'm at 9 books, and I have a whole day left. I need to finish another book, at least. If you've watched my last video, you know I intended to read Tender as the Night by F. Scott Fitzgerald. I'd already read it and forgot about it. Oops. Like, I read it on my Kindle. I didn't read that copy because I recently just unearthed that copy that I had. And yeah, I've already read, I'm pretty sure I finished it, but I've at least read the majority of it, and I started it and I was like, oh, well then, need another book. So, but I did finish 10 books, which is rather alarming, at least to me. People who I've told are like, why? Why are you doing this? And I'm just like, I don't know. Felt like it. But yeah, so those are the books I read for the Bout Books 9.0 readathon, and I will see you guys in another video.